Hello everyone, Julia here, hello from Sweden and welcome to a new video. And in today's video I want to show you all my travel journals and talk a bit about my travel journaling journey, my travel journal adventure, and like to show you how I started with travel journaling and how my travel journals changed over the years. So I have here quite a few different travel journals from the last few years, so I just will put some of them aside and slowly will be showing them one by one and telling a bit about each one of them. I have flip throughs of most of these journals on my YouTube channel, so I won't show them in detail, but I will leave a link to the flip through playlist where you can see the flip throughs in case if you are interested in some of these journals and want to see them in more detail. But I will start from my first travel journals, my really early travel journals, and will tell you a bit how I started. And unfortunately I can't show you my very first travel journals because they are still in Ukraine in my parents' house, and sometime I want to bring them here, but now I just don't have them here, so I can't show you my very first travel journals. But basically I started with some kind of travel journals when I started to travel more and when I started to travel alone or with friends, so like from year 2008-2009, I think, when I went to study in Kiev. I studied there in the university, and I think like from year 2008 I started to travel more. First then in Ukraine mostly, then also to travel abroad with friends. And I always liked to collect different papers from my trips, like tickets and postcards and all possible kinds of free papers like city maps or some flyers or brochures about some interesting places in the city. So I always collected a ton of those free papers and I didn't know what to do with them for a while. So for a while I just had them in the box, but then I decided to put them in an album. So basically I started to make some kind of travel albums. They were quite big, something like this kind of album. Like this is already one of the later ones. This one is from 2019. I'm showing this as an example, but this kind of albums were my first travel journals. So basically what I did, I just put everything in this album, all the papers that I collected, just glued them to the pages, like all the tickets, all those flyers and maps and stuff. And sometimes I also printed some photos from the trip, and everything was in those albums. And they were quite a big size, something like this kind of albums, quite big, quite thick. And I didn't write back then almost anything about my trips. I didn't journal about my trips. Sometimes I just wrote down something like where was it from, like what kind of ticket is this, or where did I get that piece of paper, or just something short under the photo. But I didn't journal back then, which I kind of regret because I really would like to read now something about those early trips, because of course over the years you forget the little details. But back then I didn't write anything. I just had a collection of different things, of different papers, some paper ephemera. So I collected different travel ephemera even before I knew what is travel journaling. Like I didn't call my albums back then travel journals. Basically they were just albums, like memory keeping albums or so, and I didn't know about travel journaling back then. I had those albums from around 2008 I think and up to 2018 or 17. Sometime I will bring them here to Sweden, and then also will show you my very first kind of travel journals. But my first travel journal, like an actual journal, is this one. This is just some notebook that I bought in Ukraine in the supermarket, in some local supermarket, because I liked this cute cover. And I started this travel journal. As you can see here, it says that it's travel journal, and I also have here some stickers and stuff. And this one is from 2018 already, and this basically was my first travel journal, like an actual journal where I started to write about my trips. And this one is like really simple. I just have here some stickers, sometimes also some ephemera that I collected, like something like this, like map, for example. So this was my first actual travel journal, and looking at it now, it looks kind of chaotic, but I still like it. Like, I still like how it looks, how I did that back then. I also didn't know very much about travel journaling back then. I just saw some photos on Instagram and some videos on YouTube about travel journals, and was interested in it, and just started my own travel journal. So it's something very simple. Basically, it's just some stickers, and sometimes also I stick some tickets and stuff. And as you can see, there are no photos in this travel journal, only some stickers, some tickets, and some ephemera that I collected during the trip, and some journaling. I wrote quite a bit about every day of the trip. I tried to write as much as I can, like to remember all the little details and stuff like that. And as you can see, unfortunately, this kind of ephemera, this receipts from different places, and sometimes these were also tickets. The ink is almost faded, and I hardly can see what exactly is this. And I have quite a few papers like this here, like here, for example. This one is from Portugal, from Porto, and it was a ticket, I think bus or train ticket, but yeah, as you can see, it's fading very much. Yeah, but I also have here different tickets like this. So here I already started to make more, tried to make my travel journal more interesting, and not just stick everything, glue down everything to the page, but also write something and add some stickers and decorate it. But it was a very beginning of my travel journaling adventure, so this journal is still very simple, but I like to look back to my old journals sometimes and just see what I did back then and how it changed. And then I remember that short time after when I finished that journal, I found out about traveler's notebooks. I never had traveler's notebook before that, and back then I saw some pictures of traveler's notebooks also on Instagram, I think, and some videos on YouTube, and it looked really interesting and I wanted to try it out. But back then I also didn't really know if I will like it, and I had no idea where to buy traveler's notebook, and back then it still was kind of expensive for me. So I was inspired by those traveler's notebooks that I saw on internet and decided to make something similar, my own traveler's notebooks. So I made these 3 journals. These are completely self-made journals in traveler's notebook style. They are bigger than actual traveler's notebook, a bit wider and I think a bit taller. So here is a traveler's notebook, and yeah, as you can see, these journals are a bit bigger. I made them a little bit wider than traveler's notebooks. But yeah, I was really interested in traveler's notebooks and wanted to try it out and just to see if it works for me. So I made these 3 journals. I remember that I made them all 3 on the same day, and I made them in junk journal style because back then I also got into junk journaling. And I decided that I want to try and make my own traveler's notebooks. So these are already from 2019. This was, I think, the first one that I started, and as you can see, it already looks different than that previous journal. I started to add photos, print out and add photos, and also decorated all the pages, added more ephemera, and started to make different pockets and stuff like that. Yeah, so I tried to make it more interesting, and I won't be showing like every single page of each of these journals because there are quite many, and as I said, I have flip throughs of these journals on my YouTube channel, so if you want to see them in detail, I will leave a link to the journal flip through playlist, and you can check them out and see all the details. Yeah, this one is also from 2019, also more pictures, more different ephemera, and it's kind of like a travel junk journal, I would say. And I really liked to make my journals in this kind of style at that time, to make them in a junk journal style. Here I also already started to make different collages and add more and more things, more stickers, use more stickers, more washi tapes, more different papers and different kinds of ephemera, and started to print photos and add photos as well, and just make some collages like this. Yeah, so this is already quite different than the first journal from 2018, and this one is also very similar to those 2. And this one is already 2020, COVID time. I think it was one of the first trips after the lockdown in Germany, when it was possible to go somewhere again. In most of these journals I have a few trips in one journal, a few different trips. Sometimes it's one-day trips, sometimes also some longer trips, but this journal is basically summer of 2020, I think. Yeah, summer and beginning of autumn, and that was already the time when we moved to Sweden, first to Gotland, to the island Gotland, where we lived for about a year, and it was a really cool time. We were traveling there on the island quite a bit. Yeah, so this is 2020 already. Then I continued to make this kind of travel journals. Also, some are in traveler's notebook style, some are a bit different, a bit bigger. So let's see, this one is... which year is it? It's already 21, I think. This one is also 2020. At least I think so. No, this one is also already 2021. Also kind of like a traveler's notebook, but I always had these signatures sewn in, not exchangeable like in traveler's notebooks. This one is a bit bigger size, but I also made this 3 journals at the same time using some beautiful travel themed paper from Stamperia. I remember that I got those. This one is still from 2020, so this one is a continuation of this journal. So this is end of 2020. This was a trip to Stockholm. It's already winter, some winter trips. Yeah, so this was from 2020. Then this one that I showed before. They are all very, very similar, and then this one, this is also 21, I think. Yeah, this one is 2021, and they are made in a very similar style, and I also decorated them in a similar style. I was also trying to write more and more about each trip, and also was using more stickers, more different papers and ephemera. This was a trip to Ukraine, and actually it was the last time when I was in Ukraine. Since then I didn't go there. After that it was autumn 2021, so it was 2 years ago since I've been to Ukraine and visited my family there. And I was planning to go there in 2022 in spring, but then war started, and since then I didn't go there. And I also forgot to show you this a bit closely. This one is from 2019, and this big album is dedicated to one trip. That was a trip to Brazil and Argentina in 2019, and I decided that I want to have a whole separate album dedicated to the trip, and here is a lot of stuff in this album. I printed a ton of photos and also was writing a lot, and I remember that I collected a lot of different ephemera during the trip, different papers, and it was almost a month's trip. So I decided to make a whole album about this trip, and I really like how this album turned out. There are a lot of memories in here, and sometimes I like to flip through this album, and I made a lot of different fun pockets and some things like that where I could put even more photos, some fold outs and stuff like that. So I really like how this album turned out. It's also kind of like a travel journal, but in very big format, and like combination of travel journal and photo album. All my memories from this trip, like in general, this trip was really cool, so I wanted to put all my memories to this album. Then there's also this journal, that's also one of the self-made journals, kind of in a junk journal style, and this one is a bit bigger size. It's kind of like A5 journal, and this one is also dedicated to only one trip, and that's Amsterdam and Belgium in 2021. First we went to visit our friends there, and then we went together to the festival in Belgium. So this travel journal is dedicated to that one trip, and I've been showing this journal on my YouTube channel, and also there are journal with me videos. I was showing how I make pages, how I fill the pages in this journal. So also will leave a link to travel journal with me playlist in case if you would like to see more travel journal videos, like a travel journal process. And then I started to use my traveler's notebooks more. I got my first traveler's notebooks in 2021, I think, and I started to use traveler's notebooks more and more, and I started to make my own inserts for traveler's notebooks, also in junk journal style. This one is from 2022, and this one is about a trip to Prague. I also have quite many videos about this journal, a flip through, and also journal with me videos. This one is from the last year. I really like how this travel journal turned out. Also many photos and many different cool ephemera in here. And I also started to use this Traveler's Company inserts. And already finished quite a few of them, so this is also from the last year, one of the inserts. And usually I have a few trips in these inserts. So this one is autumn and winter last year. My journaling style kind of changed a little bit. I started to make more and more collages, use more stickers, more tapes, and also include my photos in the collages, not just stick them on the page, but kind of make little collages with all the photos that I printed from the trip. And I still continue to do that. So this is a journal from the last year, and now this year my travel journals also look pretty similar like this. This one is also from the last year. Also, I think this is the first journal of the last year, winter, early winter, spring. I think a bit of summer as well in this journal. So also many nice memories. Yeah, and my travel journals from this year are also very similar to this. And this year I already finished 5 different inserts, 5 different travel journals. I'm still using this Traveler's Company inserts. So this one I also was showing recently, and there are many journal with me videos about this journal. This is a journal dedicated to my trip to Amsterdam, to Metallica concerts, and then to Stockholm. So kind of one trip in this insert. This one is a collection of short trips from the beginning of this year, starting from New Year, and I think until April or so, April or May. This insert is about trip to Gothenburg, also to Metallica concerts, and this was my first time using this accordion insert from Traveler's Company, which was really fun. I really liked the experience, and I bought another one of this accordion inserts, and probably will use more of them later. So this is also one of the travel journals dedicated to one trip. And also this year I added a passport size traveler's notebook to my travel journal lineup, and also finished 2 passport inserts already. And I have to say that I really enjoy this small format as well. I thought first that it will be too small as a travel journal, but I found it perfect for short trips, like one-day trips. It's really great. I really enjoy this small format as well. So I already finished two passport inserts with different short trips, mostly in summer, like this one is spring and summer, and this one is a bit of winter and early spring. And now I'm using passport size insert for short trips and regular size for longer trips. So this is my main travel journal now, and the newest insert that I started in June, I think. Yeah, in June, and this is the insert which I'm using now. And I also have passport size travel journal and using both of them kind of together. And yeah, I think that's all the travel journals that I have. I hope that sometime I will manage to bring my old travel albums to Sweden, and then I also can show you my very first travel journals, travel albums, and from the time when I still didn't know what is travel journaling and didn't know anything about travel journals. But for the moment, that's all that I have, all the travel journals that I have here in Sweden, all the travel journals that I finished in last 5 years, I think. And I hope this video was interesting for you. Hope it was interesting for you to see how I started, how I got into travel journaling, and how my journals changed over the years, how my style changed, and how I started to add more and more to my travel journals. And at the moment I really enjoy this kind of travel journal. Like, I really like to use my traveler's notebook as a travel journal. I really like the size of traveler's notebook is really perfect for travel journal, and at the moment I really enjoy this kind of travel journal. I don't know how long I will be using traveler's notebook as my travel journal. I like to change formats of my journals, so maybe next year there will be something new. Maybe I will start to use some other kind of journal as my travel journal, but now I really like traveler's notebook. So I hope this video was interesting for you, and if you want to see detailed flip-throughs of my travel journals, then check out the link in the description box with a playlist. There are also some travel journal with me videos where I'm showing in detail how I use my travel journals and make pages and add stuff to my travel journals. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and see you in my next videos. Bye!